From across the comic book community multiverse, the Comic-Con podcast begins now with your hosts, Justin, aka Nemesis Prime.
If you give them the title of influencer, then that's giving them more power, right? That's how it is. Like, I'm a nobody. Listen, I'm a nobody.
Zach, aka the Manimal.
We talked about it for a full, I believe, 7 to 8 minutes on an hour-long normal podcast for a show. And you would have thought we set their house on fire with the backlash. So,
hey, everybody. Welcome back to the Comic-Con podcast, season 3, episode 10. It's your boy, Nemesis Prime. And I don't know, Zach's not here this week. I think he's kind of MIA. Who knows where he's at? He's doing some personal stuff, work stuff. I don't even know anymore. All I know is that if you look at as far as days, I have not missed a show since October when I went to New York Comic-Con. So, of course, I don't like doing the show by myself because then I feel like I'm just talking to myself. So, of course, today we're actually recording it on March the 8th. So today is officially Women's International Day. And of course, it's also Women's History Month. So I had to bring on 2 women to help me co-host this show. First and foremost, let's talk about our true woman of power. You've seen her on TikTok, Instagram, and all those great places. What page is it? Sade Paige, how are you?
I'm good. How are you? Happy to be back. I'm very excited.
Oh, well, I'm glad you could be here. Of course, here on the podcast, we've been, having, especially for this month, we've been women in the community come on, talk about their stuff. Last week, we had Laura from Bird City Comics. So if you have not checked out that episode, make sure you go check out that episode. And then I do have another, I wouldn't call her a woman, but I'll give you the story before we introduce this person. I said that Zach told me this week that he can't make the show. And I said, okay, well, I was like, maybe I'll ask Sade because she, of course, has been on the show a few times. And I was like, well, maybe I'll ask, Newbie. And he's like, well, that's perfect. And I go, well, why is that perfect? He's like, well, it's Women's Month. So you could put Newbie on. So without further ado, Mr. Newbie Comics himself. Joel, how are you?
I think I said, oh, I'll do it because that'll make me have the record of being here. So 6-time defending, reigning champ, record holder of the show. But what's going on? Happy International Women's Day. Yeah, for sure.
Yes. Well, see, you're on that. And another thing, Gabe was a possibility that I was going to ask, and then it would have been you two. But Sade's actually been on here a few times. So
yeah, 3 times. 3rd time's the charm now.
Get some people that are always been on the show. So, of course, I appreciate both you coming on here. This is going to be a nice Justice League, a good, mix. Because, of course, Zach and I constantly go back and forth. And it's going to be a nice, debate on some of these topics that we're going to be talking about. But, of course, let's kick off the community. It is Women's Month. So let's kind of go around the horn. I do have a community person that did reach out to me. And, of course, that's always what this is about. I'm not going to give out government names, but our buddy, friend of the show, friend of the channel, Scott P. He reached out to me, and I think this is really awesome. And my panelists don't know about this, but he reached out to me and to Zach, and he's wanted to let us know that there is it's pretty cool. It's Phillipsburg Comic-Con. So to give you a background, it started back in 2014. The teacher, her name is Faith Roncoli. She actually started the Phillipsburg Comic-Con back in 2014. So she also started the Comic and Anime Club back in 2014 at the high school. It does actually have a lot of great artists and writers that attend this Comic-Con. And he did, reach out to me saying that some of the grants that they normally received, unfortunately, are no longer available. So she actually did start a GoFundMe. So you can actually go on GoFundMe.com and check it out. It's called P-Berg Comic-Con. Really interesting stuff. Of course, for the people that are in I would say the New Jersey, New York, and even PA area, if they know about JAF Comics, they're one of the organizers. Faith is also one of the organizers. So it's really awesome to see a woman that is taking an interest and created this. And I actually watched a video recently where, she does bring in comics into the classroom, which is really amazing. So I definitely going to try to have Faith on here. And again, if you can, and as soon as I get paid this week, I'm definitely going to go into the GoFundMe and throw some money. And I definitely want to attend. So the Comic-Con is, like I said, it's in Phillipsburg. It's actually at the high school. It's Saturday, May 13th. It's a one-day show. It's for 6 hours. Obviously, the kids kind of put it on. The Comic and Anime Club kind of puts it on. So I think that's really awesome. It's interesting that small town community is what it's all about. So we're gonna go around the horn. I kind of asked my panelists to kind of bring something for upcoming community events. So let's start off with Newbie, because I know he does have one sooner rather than later, and then we're gonna go to Sade. So Newbie, what do you have this that's soon as far as like a comic show?
First of all, comics at school,
Right?
Take me back. I think my teachers sold me short, but yeah, no, that's a great thing. Yeah, we got Toronto. I say we, but I'm in Niagara. But Toronto Comic Con is happening next weekend, so Friday, Saturday, Sunday. A lot of people from the community up here in the Great White North. Some Americans are actually going to make the trip, so that's going to be interesting. But it's going to be at the convention center in Toronto. It's usually where it's at every year, so they do 2 a year. It's under the name Comic-Con, like Toronto Comic-Con, but they use it as like the fan expo as well. So 2 events, same. March is the first one, so yeah, I'm excited. It's realistically like the one that really kicks it off. So if you're from this area, March is usually the one that kind of starts the circuit, right? Because then afterwards, every 2 weeks it seems like there's a show. So it's exciting. It's the weather's getting nicer. Sandals are coming. I'm getting ready to bring out the sandals, and the shows are happening. So you can't go wrong with that.
Oh boy, yeah. So we all, if anybody knows Newbie, and I got to meet him last year at Terrificon, and this man's walking around at Terrificon with sandals on. And I did get you back because when I went to King Kong last year, I did show you the pictures that I was wearing sandals, which I don't ever do because I think that's terrible to be walking around a convention with just sandals on.
Yeah, I think a few people, like when they meet me, they're like, "Oh my God, this isn't like a gimmick. Like you actually do this." And I'm like, "Yeah." But I remember when you had met me, you're like, you literally looked down, and you're like, "Oh my God, you're really doing this." And I was like, "Yeah, man."
He looked out at me and goes, "You're short." Like that's what I got when we first met.
Everybody gets the first look at everybody, and the first thing I saw is Newbie's feet. So it was like, wow. Like,
yeah.
And you, Sade, I'd look over you and see.
You were like, "Where is she? Down here."
All right, so that's awesome, Newbie. Again for the Toronto people, and I guess for people that are coming up from, the great, U.S. So, Sade, obviously, it's Women's Month. I know there's a few community events. What is anything that's going on in your area over in New York?
Honestly, I should probably look into it more. I've been going to a lot of screenings lately with a bunch of people within my group, so it's kind of what's been going on mostly. We have like John Wick, Shazam, and Dungeons and Dragons movie coming out. So a lot of us like comic book people within New York go and meet up there. It's kind of like our little reunions each time. So
yeah, I've been seeing that. Yeah, you went to go see, what was the last one? Cocaine Bear.
Yes.
Can you please give us the 5-minute synopsis and review of this, because I really want to check it out. I'm just so busy.
It's based off of true events where a drug dealer is throwing bags of cocaine, like duffel bags of cocaine, out of a plane, knocks himself out when he tries to jump out, lands on somebody's driveway because he was unconscious and couldn't pull his chute. Then one of the bags landed in the mountains. A bear got into it and ate a whole thing of it. I think they said the bear ate, I could be wrong, like close to $1 million worth of cocaine.
Okay.
And like his stomach was jam-packed, and like any miserable way this bear could have died, it could die. This is the true like story of it.
True story, yeah.
But in the movie, this bear decides to just go on like a killing spree because it's like high off of cocaine, and like the minute it sees any human, it's done. Like survival rate is like almost null on this, and it's very gory. If that's not your vibe, then don't watch it. But if you're down for it, go for it. But it's also, it's kind of like reminds me of like, do you remember like those crazy movies that were like Zombiever, Rubber, but then also like Sharknado? Like
yeah,
it's
of course.
that kind of vibe where it's ridiculous and everybody that's within the film knows it's ridiculous. So it's like entertaining. Like I haven't laughed that hard in a movie in a very long time.
So it's like a step above the Sci-Fi Channel movies that where you'd find like Sharknado and those like movies like Zombie, or just like, I think there was one that was like, instead of Transformers, it was like Transmorphers, and I was just like, ugh, really?
Yeah, it's so funny. Like even like Ice-T's son is in it. The guy who plays Han Solo's in it, and like the characters within it, like I don't feel like any role within that film is a small role, because each character that was casted for this is like necessary to make this film the way it is.
When this was announced, I automatically went to, I have a buddy who's like obsessed with B and C list movies.
Yeah.
And he always used to tell me about this movie called Rubber, and it was about a tire.
Yes.
That's
Yes.
literally where my head went when this came out. I was like, this has like Rubber vibes. And if
Yeah.
you don't know what it is, very short, it is a movie about a tire that kills people, and there's like a
Telekinetic
shower
power.
scene and stuff. Yeah, it's like really weird, but
And it like
yeah,
explodes people.
yeah, it's yeah, wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's
You learn something new every day. I will
Yeah.
have to look this up. Higher.
There's a trailer on
rubber,
YouTube.
not tire, rubber.
Rubber. Oh, Rubber. I'm thinking. Yeah.
Rubber
All right.
and Zombiever. And what's a really bad one? I think it's like one about a turkey. Like we're talking about plucked, ready to be cooked Thanksgiving turkey that's like killing everybody on Thanksgiving. What is it called? Newbie, I feel like you know what I'm talking about.
I've seen it, but I can't think
it's
of
a
it.
mess.
Yes. Yeah. Oh,
Like,
it'll come to me. It will come to me.
It will. I totally forgot.
Well, that's really interesting. And I know this month also, before we kind of get into some of our articles, and we're going to get into movies right away, but I know you're doing obviously this month for Women's Month, your Women's History Appreciation Month. You're doing all like artists and writers on your Instagram and stuff that you know. I know the first one was Anne Nocenti, and wonderful, loved her in the 90s. You know, who's next on deck?
I think Karama Horn's going to be next. She did. She dropped a new book called. Hold on. I know it. Protectors of Wakanda, and it's all about the Dora Milaje. That came out in October last year, and she's probably going to do a book tour. I think soon, because at the time she couldn't, because there were some like issues at home. But now I think she might try to. But yeah, she's written a lot in comics as well as have her own books. So I'm excited to share her.
Awesome.
It might be tomorrow, but we'll see.
All right. Well, we'll look forward. Make sure you're following Sade on What Page Is It on Instagram, TikTok, and all those other social media platforms. So let's kind of get into some of our articles for the night. So speaking of movies, if you've lived under a rock and didn't see the trailer this past weekend that dropped over, I believe that was at Comics Pro, the new Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Mutant Mayhem. So this is coming over from Variety.com. So Seth Rogen reboot dazzles with a Spider-Verse style animation. The first trailer dropped from Paramount Pictures and Seth Rogen's team at TMNT Mutant Mayhem coming out in August. So it's kind of got this, teenage style with also the comic book animation style of course, 2018's Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse. We're going to kind of get into some of there's a great cast of A-list actors and actresses in the cast. Not, you got the kids. There's kids being Michelangelo and the rest of the Turtles. But as far as the cast, let's kind of gonna go down this, and we're going to talk about it. So you got Jackie Chan, of course, playing Master Splinter. You got Io Idobri, who's playing April O'Neil, and she's from that show, The Bear. Great actress, of course. Seth Rogen himself is Bebop. You got John Cena as Rocksteady, Hannibal Buress as Genghis Frog, Rose Byrne as Leatherhead, Ice Cube as Superfly, Natasha Demetri as Wingnut, and of course Giancarlo Esposito as Baxter Stockman. And then the list just goes on and on. Paul Rudd as Mondo Gecko, and Post Malone as Ray Fillet. So tons of A-list actors and actresses. What did everybody kind of think of the trailer? Sade, you checked it out,
I was obsessed with actually the art style, and it definitely ties back to Spider-Verse, because I was trying to pick out why it seems so familiar. Mm-hmm. But I think the way that they made it, obviously they've done a lot of past animation styles of them even as teenagers, but I feel like this way is definitely going to be a new take that's I definitely want to watch it, even though it's more geared towards kids in a sense. But I feel like it's definitely going to still attract us to want to watch it as well, just the way how the art style is, because it still has a mature feeling, even though it is obviously heavily about them being true teenagers and recording themselves, kind of like how a lot of Gen Z does too and stuff, and even younger. So
definitely. Newbie, thoughts?
Man, I enjoyed it. I liked it right from the get-go. I was a little disappointed that there were a few people kind of who lashed out against it, they didn't like it. But I mean, you're gonna get that no matter what. You could put any character, any genre. There's just people that aren't gonna like it. I really digged it right away, and you guys touched on it. Spider-Verse vibes. I got it. They seem a little younger, obviously, but that's okay. I don't think it's gonna be you look at the cast, and I don't see Seth Rogen like keeping it G rated or PG rated, right? I feel like this cast is great. It's A list 100%. My only issue is I was a big Turtles fan. I don't have the book, like the first appearance or anything like that, but I was a big Turtles fan growing up back home and stuff. April O'Neil, beautiful redhead. Where's the beautiful redhead? That's the only thing that I'm like, why wouldn't they keep that, like proper? Like there's a
Did you know the
nostalgia
history
feel,
of actually of April O'Neil?
say that again.
Do you know the history of April O'Neil? They actually, IDW just posted a video about it where one of the co-creators' wife is biracial like me. And initially she was created to be biracial like his wife because that's who was inspired by his ex-wife. So that's why. But the comics were initially black and white. So as the comics became colored, they whitewashed her, as a lot of comics do, and back in the day too. And that's why she became a white woman and redhead. But initially, she was supposed to be a colored woman.
You know what's that show where like right behind you goes, the more you know.
Or, that was just an advertisement. There was no show for that movie.
Oh, sorry.
Yep.
Okay.
I'll just
dropping knowledge. But yeah, I agree. It's obviously I've been watching some videos and read some stuff as far as April O'Neil, and for the people that have grown up throughout all the different iterations, there's always a change, and that's kind of just the times we live in. But
yeah,
for me, this movie, I've been around. I was there when Ninja Turtles came out. I remember, I remember when the Ninja Turtles movie and the Ninja Turtles concert was around, and they used to show up at Blockbuster. And there's just so many characters. For me, there's too many characters in this movie, and obviously there's still no Shredder, right? Nobody said who Shredder was, if he's even in the movie. So who's the villain? Yeah, obviously it would be either like Krang, Shredder, Karai, maybe. But I'm afraid that there's too many characters, and they're not going to get enough screen time because characters like Wingnut and Mondo Gecko are old school, and people love them, and there's like a cult following for some of these characters, and they may just not get that time to shine. And I feel like that's almost going to happen in like the new Spider-Verse movie. Like there's going to be too many characters, and you're just like, oh, I really want to see more of this person. But I'm in for it. It's of course, with Paramount, Nickelodeon, the Turtles are the Turtles. It's definitely like Sade said, it's a little bit, they look younger. They're like not the normal Ninja Turtles. Like they're already geared up and ready to fight. They're still like kind of look like they're training and stuff. So, but it's coming out in August, so I'm excited to see it, and we'll kind of see what happens, and we'll see if there's any backlash, or if it just kind of goes whatever. I'm a big fan of what was it, like 2006 or 7? There was it was just called TMNT, and that was CGI, and that was just like a movie, and that was amazing. And I told Zach about it, and Zach couldn't really remember too much. I was like, yeah, dude, you can check it out.
I think I remember it. Yeah. Two things I think about, like, one, I think because it's Turtles, I think it's just going to do really well regardless. Like numbers are going to be crazy, even if people think it's garbage. But I also don't think that it's just a one and done. Like I really think that with that cast, with those people, I think they're probably going to have like a part 2, because like you said, right, there's so many characters, not enough of them are going to get that screen time. They didn't introduce Shredder. So I really do think that, how are you going to bring a Turtles thing and not introduce Shredder, right? So I do think that there's probably going to be multiple parts to this, but yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah.
I can see them introducing Shredder at like the very last episode to finish off the season, to be like, don't worry, we didn't forget about him, and then it'll be in like part 2 or something, or he's like a hidden background character until like the last moment.
Yeah,
what's the rush? What's the rush, right? Like us comic people, like with shows, with movies, we're like, okay, give me the next one, give me the next one. Why not just be like, you know what? Let's use different people. Because like the other thing too is like it's clear that they're making these turtles like they are younger, or they come off a little bit younger than what we're used to. So why are they going to go up against this like grown up crazy person? Like let's slow down. Let's have some fun with it.
Definitely. All right, so sticking with movies, we have, and this kind of kills my soul a little bit. So this is coming over from CBR.com. So Disney kills, and I just said it twice, kills Kevin Feige and Patty Jenkins Star Wars movies. So the untitled Kevin Feige movie and, of course, Patty Jenkins from Wonder Woman fame are no longer moving forward at Lucasfilms. Patty Jenkins was tackled to write and direct the Rogue Squadron movie, Unfortunately, that's no longer moving forward, and Kevin Feige's untitled Star Wars feature has been completely shelved right now. So the news comes a few months after it was stated that Patty Jenkins was still working on it, and they were still considering her after Wonder Woman 3, which he was still honored to do, and that was back in December. But as of right now, we are no longer going to be getting Rogue Squadron, which it's probably would have been an amazing movie because from the way technology has kind of moved forward so far, a dogfight airspace battle or, on a planet with the Rogue Squadron team would have been amazing. But we know that we are going to be getting announcements of a untitled films at Star Wars Celebration this year in London. Right now, the release dates of those is December 2025, 2027, and 2029. Sade, what are your thoughts on kind of scrapping some Star Wars stuff, knowing that all we have right now is the TV shows?
I'm confused on what they're gonna do. Like, honestly, I feel like I'm kind of like lost in everything that's going on with the Star Wars realm, other than like my daddy Pedro. But I think maybe that's where the focus is, and they're like, let's just like indulge in this maybe some more. But who knows? I kind of even didn't know that was happening until you showed me that it was canceling. But yeah, I'm wondering when they're gonna bring out actual films versus just the shows.
Yeah, it's been a while.
When was the last movie?
It said
Rise of Skywalker.
Yeah, so
That was like,
18?
yeah, I was going to say 17, 18, somewhere in there. Because I remember
So it was 2015, 17, and 19 were the
19. Wow.
Yeah.
Where did the time go? Oh my god.
right.
5 years with no movie. I mean, let's face it, guys. I'm the biggest Star Wars fan you guys will come across, right? No,
Hey, I just got new tattoos. I just inked Star Wars on me, man.
I'm so kidding. I'm totally kidding. I hope nobody calls me out on that. But I'm with Rocksteady, with Justin, I have been getting into them. I have watched more of the movies. I have to get into Mandalorian because somebody had asked me like, "Oh, are you watching it? It's crazy." And I'm like, "Yeah, it's probably crazy because you love this stuff." But I got to go back and watch it. I want to do it justice, and I want to give it a fair chance. But like Justin said, I mean, it's been 5 years, 4, 3,
A
4,
long
yeah,
time.
4 or 5 years before a movie like that. That's too much. You can't do that. And I know a lot of places, like a lot of studios and things like that, are going that route of like giving you a show or giving you a limited series. But you want to be in the theater. You want to have the surround sound. You want to have the popcorn. You want to have it all go. And like you said, the aerial stuff. Like I'm a big Hal Jordan, Top Gun fan, even the old school one, not just the Maverick one. The aerial stuff, it would have been cool to see. I would have went to go see it. So yeah, it's a bummer. But yeah, we definitely need a movie coming out soon.
I agree. So Sade, you said you got inked. What did you get?
I got an X-Wing and a TIE fighter.
Is it appropriate to ask where?
Yeah, on my arm. I got this one. Yeah, lift up my shirt, show you everything.
Oh my god, that's awesome.
Yeah, got that
All
one.
right.
Whoa.
And then I got that one.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah. I did both in one day and I barely survived.
So you couldn't like lift up your arms and you're just like
By the end of it, like I think like the last hour left I had, my pain tolerance was gone. I was like,
Yep.
just take me away. May the force be with me at that point.
wow. That's awesome. I dig it. It's awesome. Some great coloring and some I like the aesthetics around it.
Maybe one day I'll look like Newbie with like a sleeve or something. I don't know.
Not Star Wars sleeve, but yeah.
Maybe Newbie, when you come to Terrificon, we're gonna leave the show and I'm gonna go to we'll find a tattoo place and we'll get some matching.
Wait, I'm in for any of this.
We'll get a matching Star Wars tattoo. All right, yeah, cool. Let's do it.
Sade, you got to come up to Terrificon. I swear, it's the best convention on the East Coast. It's
When is it again?
Like
28,
end of
29, 30.
Yeah.
Of this
End of
month?
July.
No,
July.
July.
Okay, because I'm like, what month are we talking?
Yeah,
Okay, because
no.
I want to maybe go to the Fan Expo in Philly, and that's in June, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Trying, it's like closer, but maybe I'll try to go that one too. We'll see.
It's at Mohegan Sun. It's at a casino. Like it's the fact that you could stay in the casino and then you just walk to the convention center. Newbies heard all about it before the show, and then when he finally got there, he's like, this is awesome. Like there's tons of places like you never leave the casino really.
No.
If you stay at the casino, like there's tons of places to eat, there's tons of places to go. right outside the convention center, they have like this arcade thing. So there's like bowling and arcades and food, and believe me,
And it's a true comic book show, though. Like,
Mhm.
nothing against toys or swords, because it seems to be like the thing. But like, I like the fact of going to a show and it is like, if you're advertising as a comic show, there's going to be 80 to 90% comics, right? This one has, like, I would say 90% comics, and there's just a lot of people. There's just
Yeah.
a lot
Tons
of
of
good people.
cosplay.
Yeah, a lot of cosplay, but like community members. Like, it's just a fun time. You're learning stuff. You're meeting new people. It was probably
Gambling.
my favorite show I've ever been to. Yeah.
I used to say
alright.
New York was that, and then
Yeah.
I
I think I convinced Swaggle House to come. He announced that the other day on my show. He said, "You know what? I'm coming." So,
Oh damn!
Yeah.
All right.
All right,
So
you
yeah.
guys might convince me. Let's see what I can do.
Yep. So start saving. Come in July, please. So that is our movie news, but we have some TV news as well, and this is actually perfect for Women's Month. So this actually just dropped out of nowhere. I didn't know about this until literally this morning. So this is an original series over at Disney Plus called MPower. It's now streaming. What it is it's discovered how the characters of the women of the MCU and there's behind their success and impacted fans around the world. So there is 4 episodes. They all drop today. First episode is the Women of Black Panther. You have the Captain Marvel ladies, Brie Larson, and of course Amelia Vellani for Kamala Khan and Monica Rambeau. You have Scarlet Witch episode, and then you have Gamora also with Nebula. So really interesting stuff. I'm definitely going to binge watch it this weekend. It basically talks about unlocks their journeys as these characters from their birth in the Marvel comics to the MCU and beyond, and of course showing you all behind the scenes stuff, interviews with the ladies. It goes on to quote, and this is really directly from Marvel.com. So every hero has an epic origin, and so does this series, says the producer. When I conceived MPower, I did it out of the love for my teenage daughter, so she would be having more icons to look up to, voices to learn from, and role models to help her impact the world today. That Visions is now a reality thanks to Brie, Elizabeth Olsen, the women of Wakanda, Zoe, whose leadership has been empowering. So, Sade, being a woman in this community, how awesome is this?
I'm hyped, and I've been super excited to see like more women-led shows and movies going on within the Marvel universe, and seeing these strong women like do different things, have different stories. And I even had honestly, my favorite group has to be the Dora Milaje, because they are so, can I swear?
Yeah, of course.
Badass.
Yeah, of
I
course.
just want to know, they're so bad. Usually I just drop whatever, but I just want to be polite. The fact that any man thinks that they can take them, and they're bet, and then completely wipe them out. I was just even wishing I was as strong as them, where I even put I'm a nerd on my vision board to work out. The Dora Milaje is my example of working out so I can feel strong like them.
Okay.
In a sense, I started boxing and
Yeah.
stuff. So seeing strong, especially strong Black women too, and being mixed, seeing my different ethnicities being represented in such a strong way, even too as a woman, it's fantastic to me. But I found out about this too today. Somebody in my comics on a recent TikTok talked about it, so I definitely want to watch that this weekend.
Yeah, it's definitely on my to-do list. I've watched Mandalorian, Mando, and I watched Bad Batch. Definitely this weekend I'm going to binge through all these episodes, because I'm super excited, and I love seeing the behind the scenes stuff too. You get to see it in screen and what it looks like, but again, the women who are part of, and I'm kind of glad that they didn't do Scarlett Johansson's Black Widow and Yelena Belova. They've really taken this, and these are women. A lot of them are up and coming. Obviously, Mon Vellani, Elizabeth Olsen has come a long way from the beginnings of Scarlet Witch, and I feel even the Guardians females don't get too much love, but yeah, the Dora Milaje, and Zach and I have talked about this before. We would love to see a Dora Milaje TV show, because they're badass assassins, and I mean, how could you not want a show that involves the Dora Milaje? So
yeah, this is the first I'm here. Well, earlier today when you sent it to me, I was excited, because I think my first reaction was what? And I was excited. Obviously, I was working, so I didn't get a chance to kind of read into it or check it out. But I'm definitely going to. I love seeing the behind the scenes too. I also like when they do those things where like the actor or actress will talk about like what they did to get ready for the role and why it was important to them and why they took so, the time to get into the characters. Because let's face it, we know kind of how it works with like Marvel and comic characters, right? Like a lot of people say, if you dedicate yourself to one of these roles, you're kind of stuck there, right? But I think something that has happened over the years, and being an Iron Man guy, maybe I'll have to say, but like Scarlett Johansson, when she came on in Iron Man 2, it came off as like sex symbol, right? Like they try to make it more sexy. And as we've gotten to today, you look at the women that we have today playing these characters, and they're badass. Like they kick ass. They're great. I think it just empowers, more females and more female characters down the road, and more, just more females in this community. I don't think it's a bad idea. Like it used to be like one of those like notions that like, oh, girls can't be in this. It's like, why? Like I know so many females that know so much more about comics than I do, have read more than me, will give me stats and things like that, and it's just great. Like I love having women and seeing different diversities. Same with me, right? Like I know I look Caucasian, but I'm Latin, so like when I see like Miles and just different ethnicities and things like that, I think it's really good. It just shows you how big the door is open for comics in the community and even on the big screen and stuff like that. So it's pretty good.
Yeah, you got schooled earlier by Sade, so
Yeah.
I did.
yeah, I'm in the same boat with you, Newbie. I think you hit it 100%. How when Black Widow came out, it was a completely different thing, and now we definitely are seeing the empowering of women. For me, like I'm not a huge Kamala Khan fan, but again, I grew up in New Jersey my entire life. Like she's from Jersey City. Like I love that. Like, yeah, and I go to Jersey City constantly. So like I remember when Zach came here a while before for Terrificon last year, and I was we were driving around Jersey City. I was like, oh, this is kind of like where they, you may remember like kind of like this area, like this is what it is. And it's cool. Like I get it, and always like in movies and TV shows, they're like, Jersey, typical like New Yorkers say that, but that's what it is. Like these characters are newer to the MCU, or especially even to newer to comics, like someone like Kamala Khan, obviously Ironheart, you have these newer characters, all representations, they're not just white white females, they're every representation, and that's empowering right now in women. So I think this is a perfect show that everyone should definitely check out. Like it's not, and it's not, they're not like what they have been doing on the Disney Plus. They're not those like 5-minute like previews that they usually put on. If you've ever checked those out, like they kind of show you just like footage from the movies, like getting you ready for like the upcoming movie. Like these are actual like long episodes, and they have like I'm really interested in like what all the women are going to be saying. So again, MPower streaming on Disney Plus. Make sure you check it out. 4 episodes, and I'm sure they're going to do more. There's more female led stuff coming, so who knows? We may see Sylvia from Loki. Whoever knows. So I'm interested. I'm down for it. That's going to be my binge weekend. So let's get out of the TV and movie section. Let's continue to our comic book section. And I feel like this one is definitely maybe more for me. There may be not as many people are going to be checking this out, but I found this article and I'm super excited about this. Coming over from comicbook.com, The Great Gatsby graphic novel coming to Kickstarter, dropping soon. So writer Ted Williams and artist George Clay announced today that they will be funding a new hardcover, a graphic novel from, of course, F. Scott Fitzgerald's The Great Gatsby. So if you didn't know, back in 2021, the novel became public domain. So this has actually been in development even before that, they said. So if you are a fan of the Roaring 20s, which I love, you get your chance to go ahead and fund this Kickstarter. It's not available right now, but if you go over to just kickstarter.com and type in The Great Gatsby, or go check out this article, you can actually start to follow it for the upcoming preview. If you're a fan of course, the old novel or even the 1974 movie with Richard Pryor, who is, of course, even in the MCU, you may want to check this out. So I mean, Newbie, are you a novel guy? Are you like a 1920s guy? Do I see you as a Jay Gatsby up in Canada? Like, you know,
No, I always tell people that I should have been born in the 50s, just with like the hair, like the leather jacket, the muscle cars. I could definitely see myself working in a car shop in high school, and then me and 5 buddies just start dancing and singing.
Can you
I,
dance?
I think that's Grease, but anyway, no, I'm not really a novel guy. Unfortunately, like, yeah, I read comics, but like I've kind of gotten into audiobooks and things like that. So like I mean, I guess I could do it. Great Gatsby. I mean, it's a classic, right? Iconic, if not. The movie, I'm surprised you didn't mention the one that they did, 2016?
10 years ago. Yeah, yeah. Of
Yeah,
course,
something like that.
Leo
That was
DiCaprio,
great.
Tobey
Yeah,
Maguire,
Leo,
yes.
Tobey Maguire, Margot Robbie, I believe she was in it. No, maybe
No.
I'm thinking of another movie. But yeah, it was just it was really good production. Yeah, I'm not a roaring 20s though. No, no, definitely not. So, but I'm looking forward to it. I'll pick it up for sure.
Yeah, I definitely can't wait to fund this. Sade, what are your thoughts?
I'm hyped. I am a fan of the 20s, that genre and everything. The book, I think I read it in high school. That was
I
like
think
the
we
only
all
time.
did. Yeah,
But
we
like
probably
that
all
was like
did.
mandatory, obviously.
Yeah.
So like I wasn't like about it at the time. And I don't know if I want to like reread it, but maybe I'll just stick to this graphic novel because like that's all I have time for is like graphic novels and comics. So can throw
You
that
can get the
in
Cliff
there.
Notes, and then you could do the graphic
Graphic
novel.
Notes is how I got through school, guys. Okay, that's it. That was like my cheating thing. So good.
Do you still do Cliff Notes for like books these days?
I don't know. Maybe TikTok's now the new Cliff Notes. Who knows? But yeah.
Well, you just Google everything. It's the internet. Like back when
Right.
we were all in school, I don't know. I'm a little older than both of you, but yeah.
Barely.
Oh, yeah, I guess barely, but still, like I remember barely reading Great Gatsby, and it's probably because at the time I didn't appreciate it, but as I grew older and you take like history classes in high school or college or something like that, when you learn about it, obviously it's before the Great Depression, it's the Roaring 20s, it's the Jazz Age. Like I love it. Like if that movie's on TV, like the more recent Great Gatsby is on TV, I immediately stop what I'm doing and finish watching it. And
It's so good.
I'm definitely interested because again, yeah, like someone who may not have time to read, an entire novel, but like, picture reading, like most people, like obviously comic people do, this is perfect. So, again, you can go and check out the article. They do show some of the art over at comicbook.com. And maybe it's something to, get into different. It's not superheroes, it's not horror. It's something that has been in our history and it's been a novel in the past. So again, check it out over at, check it out at GoFundMe. So interesting stuff, everyone. I appreciate, obviously we are always talking comic books and we always like to end our shows with what are we currently reading? I know typically what we've been doing is what are we currently pre-ordering, but the current pre-order I haven't got a chance to look at this month and Zach's not around and I don't want to put both of you on the spot. So let's kind of get into what are we currently reading, whether it's old, new, something for our new and old listeners. Let's go around the horn. So Newbie, what are you currently reading?
So I'm still, picking up Fantastic Four issues. One, simply because they are dirt cheap. I love that old school art, and you can still find some like John Byrne stuff, very affordable. I think one of the first times that I actually did this show, you guys had asked me, and I had said the same thing. I just find Fantastic Four very fascinating. It's like one of the, and people might get upset, but like I get the Avengers, but I feel like it is one of the few teams that is successful, that is fun to read. Fantastic Four connects to so many characters throughout their run. So anytime I can get my hands on some of those issues, I've gotten lucky to get some keys from Fantastic Four for cheap, but just reader stuff for that. That's really kind of what I try to stay to read. I mean, obviously the new stuff, but
well, that's what it is. Like what are you currently reading on your weekly poll list? I know, typically, obviously people don't know. You can go back and check all Newbie's episodes here, learn all about Newbie. But Tuesday nights, you talk about all the upcoming comic books for the week because obviously your show is just before New Comic Book Day. So like what did you pick up this week from? Obviously, I know it's tough to read. It's tough to read them as fast as they come out.
I apparently have like 5 books that I pulled this week because my shop actually emails me what I pulled, and I just did one of these today. I was like, I ordered that. even though on my show I was like, yeah, I'm not ordering this, and then somehow it actually came to be that I did order it. So we're gonna have some issues tomorrow when I go and pick them up. But I was able to get Wakanda 4. I mean, I kind of I budged under the pressure. People were talking about, Kimi, whatever her name is, Tosin's love interest, second print. I wasn't really a fan of like kind of the way the cover's made, but it's her first cover. There's that, Disney variant that I picked up. I don't know if I'm gonna read it because it's like amazing Spider-Man something. I'm not really on the current.
It's a Fantastic Four or the Avengers.
Or yeah, Fantastic Four. It's the goofy
cute.
one.
It's cool. I like it.
It has the Hulk on it. I saw that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it
it's really cute looking. I don't really know what that
I've
comic's
picked them all up. They're kind of cool. I don't know. I'm probably gonna grade them all. They just look cool beside each other. What's the other book I picked
Did you see the 8-bit one? It's still on the Avengers topic.
No, I haven't.
I don't know if there's a trend going on with covers being like 8-bit art, but there was like one today of the Avengers where it looks like a video game, like all 8-bit characters on the cover. So it's like a full white background and then the characters are on the cover. It just said Avengers on it. But yeah, that came out.
I'm gonna check that out.
Yeah. I didn't know about this. Obviously, Zach and I talked about it. I can't remember if it was last week or the week before. We were talking about all these comics that are coming out that are video game homages. That's obviously the 8-bit style. But yeah, I didn't know about this from Marvel doing this Avengers cover, and I definitely need to look into this after the show. So, Sade, what are you currently reading? Anything fun? Anything exciting?
Started Monstrous for the first time.
Ooh, nice.
Yes.
I am so mad at myself for sleeping on this. I had this book. I have the first volume. I've had it for like a year or two. Why did it just sit on my shelf for so long? I don't know why, but like leave it to this month for me to finally read it. But I digress. So good. I'm still confused as to what's going on, but I'm still hooked on everything. But yeah, I'm addicted.
Oh, I love Marjorie and Sana. Like, I love the world they built. Like, so cool. I met them years ago at New York Comic Con. I had them sign my number ones, and it's so good. It's such a great series, and I'm happy it's still going. Like, it's actually I think they're up to like around 40, maybe, if I'm not mistaken. So yeah, it's.
Wait, how many volumes or trades do they have?
Probably like 5 or 6, maybe.
Is that the way for the omnibus or a compendium? I don't know what to do.
It depends on how long it goes. I would think maybe by 50 they would do like an omnibus.
True. I just picked up Bitter Roots omnibus yesterday. There's that.
What else? Anything else other than the monsters that you're finally getting into?
I was reading Bitterroot. That was before, and then also it's more anime. I'm addicted to Chainsaw Man. I'm so sorry.
Chainsaw Man, yeah.
I am like hooked. I was like reading it along with the show being out, so like each episode of the show would be like the chapter and a half of like the book. So I was like going in. So you have to read the 6th one too.
Chainsaw Man.
It's so good. Don't.
No, I know. Yeah, when
It's-
people were talking about it, I was like, "What?" And then I had to Google it myself, and I'm like, "Oh
It's
my
insane."
God.
So
Yes.
like for those that don't know what it is, it's basically a teenage boy named Denji whose goal in life is literally to just like touch a boob and get laid, but also he's like a chainsaw devil. So like he pulls on like the chainsaw, like what's that thing called? Thank you. And then like turns into a chainsaw like in his arms, his feet, and his face. And it's insane.
Yes. It's
Like-
wild. I tried to watch this subtitled, but I would rather wait for the dubbed version on like Hulu when it's there. But what's the little? So my friend of the show, Jen, she actually got the tattoo of the little doggy thing that has the.
Oh yes,
Chainsaw.
I'm this close to doing it too. This close.
A tattoo?
What's his name? Like
Ponchito. I'm really bad.
whatever. I
Something.
saw it. I was like, at least I knew what it was. But
Ponchito. Googling.
yeah, it's definitely interesting animation. It's wild. It's violent. I need to wait for the dubbed version because there's so much action going on. Yeah,
I think the English version is out because my friend of mine said that they would be like an episode or 2 behind because they preferred the English version versus reading the subtitles, whereas I was just reading the subtitles.
I hate.
Oh, well, it's on Crunchyroll, and I don't have Crunchyroll.
It's through Hulu.
Oh, maybe I'll have to check it out. Because that's where I was watching the subtitle version. Because I'm waiting for like the last season of Attack on Titan.
I don't
I'm
know what
currently
she's
watching, and
yet.
Ken, if you're out there listening, I finally started Gundam 00, which is just like you said, very Gundam Wing-esque. So, because I love the Gundam series, so finally got into Mobile Suit Gundam 00. So, well, for myself, now we went from anime and got out. Of course, this always derails here on the Comic Con podcast. For myself, some of the stuff that I'm currently reading. So this week's Batman and Joker Deadly Duo, phenomenal issue. Mark Silvestri, the writing, the art, true detective story. It's been continuing very well, obviously, with Batman and having Joker as his sidekick. There is an amazing like few panels which are just awesome. If you obviously know Batman lore and history, basically not giving too much away because this is just cool. But Joker's trapped up in the Batcave. Batgirl finally gets a hold of him, and she kind of does this thing where like you've seen this in movies where because obviously he's got handcuffs. She takes one of the handcuffs and keeps it on his arm, and then puts the other one on her arm, and they have like a one-on-one battle, and it's just like such great combat. And I love that like because she's just like so pissed because obviously they're trying to find her father. But like I love that type of like when they do that in movies because it's obviously you have that such close range of fight that she basically almost beats the crap out of him until of course Batman has to stop her and you're like no. So great issue there. Of course, the newest series of Predator just came out, and I really enjoyed this series because this actually is finally like a continuation of the movies. Like they drop hints of the 1987 movie, they drop hints of like the 90s movie, and even the one in like 2014 or 15. The premise around this volume 2, number 1, is similar to the Adrian Brody movie where people are collected, they're dropped into like this gaming area, like a planet, and the predators basically track them. But what's even really interesting, and this blew me away, is that the people that you meet in this first issue are not only just like from the current time. Like the one guy's like, oh yeah, I was sitting in a bar in 1987, and someone's like, oh, but I was here in 1997, and someone's like, oh, it's 2014. So they actually take people in different times and they basically like freeze them, and now all of a sudden they just drop them. I think the year is like 2042. And then it all comes back around to the first volume. So if you read the first Predator volume, I would say I would recommend reading that. It was only like 5 issues before you get into this one, but I'm definitely a fan because I'm a huge Predator fan. I don't know. Did either of you watch Prey on Hulu?
No.
Yes.
Oh, so
I really dig that movie, man. I it's a shame that a lot of people weren't really talking about it as much, right? Like the hype that in our communities that we get when movies come out, not a lot of people were talking about it, but I really enjoyed it. I didn't really find it slow. I thought it was like right for what it was, and yeah, it was perfect.
Yeah, I like the female chick. Like we're talking female led movie. Like they're in the Predator. The typical Predator movies are always like Arnold Schwarzenegger, like Jack Eye, or it's always like a male. Like there's never really like a female lead, and someone. And the fact that the entire movie is subtitles. The only English speaking in the entire movie are the foreigners that come. They're in like 2 scenes. So it's amazing to actually, you have to watch the entire movie subtitled, but that's fine because Predator is always about stalking. So there shouldn't really be too much talking anyway. So, yeah, Sade, you got to check it out. Praise if you like horror stuff.
You haven't seen it yet?
No.
When did that come out? Like last year, right?
July. I want to say over the summer. Yeah, it was like over the summer, straight to Hulu release. Like,
all right.
Yeah, definitely check that out.
And
then of course,
that and then the comic, or do they correlate?
Yeah, no, this movie doesn't. If you've never seen like the first 2 Predator movies, from like the Arnold Schwarzenegger and then the Danny Glover one, I mean, it's not too much. If you watch the Adrian Brody one, like I said, from the early 2010, 2011, I think it came out, like you get an idea of like what they're doing. So it's a cool callback, but it's just like typical people trying to kill predators. So yeah. But of course, pick of the week, and people are going to say I'm biased for picking this as my pick of the week, but I did get my first issue of Death Shroud. If you know, we had Chad Larson and a friend of the show, of course, Ken Marion, on talking about this. It just came out. It was on Indiegogo. Of course, I picked Ken's variant. It is really awesome. It's the action, the story. Chad does a great job of introducing a character in a world where, how much do I want to give away? So the premise is, if you can go back and check out our interview with Chad, it's basically a militaristic guy. He ends up getting these powers somehow from death. You find out a lot about why and how he's able to have these powers. It introduces a lot of like lore in the mythology of death and the angels. And Ken's art is fantastic, and exactly like Chad said here on the podcast, that when you're doing art for somebody like DC, Marvel, Indie, Image, you're bound to that square bound panels. Like with this, the art is limitless. Like it's gory. Like I mean, there's a panel where Ken's art has the character Death Shroud like ripping this guy's arm off and like throwing it, and then the very next panel punching this guy's jaw, and you just see it like literally explode off the guy's face. And I'm just like, this is awesome. This is action packed for each panel, and the storyline, like I said, is great. Chad's new writer on this great new world. So please, I'm trying to get some copies because for King Kong show upcoming this month, obviously I'm going to be vending at that. So I'm trying to get some copies from Chad to bring it here to anybody who wasn't able to pick it up. So that's definitely my pick of the week, was Death Shroud #1. And you can still purchase it from Indiegogo if you haven't already. And I know it did get completely overfunded, similar to like a normal Kickstarter. So that's my pick of the week for comic books. Of course, before we end the show, again, I appreciate my panelists, my co-hosts this week. I know Zach was, happy to have. He just texted me, and I can't wait to see what he had to say. But I knew he was interested in who I was going to bring this week, because he knows that I always like to change it up. So again, for the people that don't know, Sade, where can they find you? And of course, it's always great having you on the show.
I love being here. Thank you for having me. You can find me on TikTok and Instagram under What Page Is It?
And it's PAIGE, people.
Yes.
Anything upcoming for you, of course, going on in the community?
For me?
Yeah.
Oh my God. I mean, I'm just having this month all Women's History Month and showcasing different women in comics. That's kind of a lot that's going on. Giving more data and like info on it on Instagram, and then TikTok will be more video-wise content on there.
What's the next movie you're going to see?
Oh my God, I have 3. I am seeing John Wick, Shazam, and Dungeons and Dragons next week.
All right, awesome.
I keep forgetting it comes out. Yeah, next week.
Yeah, everything I forgot. Like I completely forgot.
It all
like
drops.
all this stuff was next week. So
when I got the invites, I'm like, so late nights every night. Got it.
You're like right there. There's not.
I know, but like I still work.
Yeah, you're right. You're young. It's fine.
Thanks.
Well, I appreciate you coming on. Of course, again, for Women's Month, we always try to bring women in the community. So I'm glad that you could join us for this episode. And our other co-host, this guy who has been here on too many times, but I love having him on here. Mr. Man of Canada, Newbie Comics.
The 6-time defending reigning champ, world record holder.
Oh my God.
Okay, that's how we should probably, start talking about it. But yeah, man, I appreciate you having me on. It's a great time being here and being with everybody here. I'm always listening, so it's gonna be weird. Listen, the shows that I'm on, like, I feel weird when I listen to them, right? Because I'm always like, oh, why did I say that? Do I sound like that? Oh,
I can't listen to myself.
like things like that. But no, I appreciate it. Yeah, now that I know John Wick and Shazam are coming out next week, I'm definitely gonna have to check it out. I you know what? With Ant-Man and Creed 3, I totally just kind of like forgot about everything else. But yeah, I'm definitely gonna go. And Newbie Comics, you can find me on Instagram. What do I have? Instagram, YouTube. That's pretty much it. No TikTok. No.
Get on there.
Yeah, I have an account, but like I don't use it. I'm not hip enough.
Because you want the name, right?
Yeah, I don't have dance moves. So I can't.
I don't dance.
I don't know.
One thing I danced, I was doing a styling video, and I did a little like shuffle, and I literally wrote "can't dance," called it a day.
All the girls that I work with, like they're always like, "Hey, come here, do this," and I'm like, "All right." So like I'm like doing something, and then they got their phone out, and they're like, "Yeah, we just TikToked," and I was like, "Oh God." Like it's just one of those things where I'm like, oh boy.
And now you're on the internet.
Yeah, and now it's like, oh man.
in more ways than
that. But yeah, Newbie Comics, Instagram, YouTube, rock and roll every Tuesday. But I'm always active on Instagram, so you can see what I'm pulling, grabbing. That sounded weird. But yeah, everything comic related, it's on there.
So I'm just gonna let you know this. Like, I've asked you 6 times to be on here, and I've only been on your show once.
Same once.
Wow. All
Once.
right. Well, we'll change it.
Years ago.
We'll change years ago. It was like 2 years ago.
And it feels like
That's
that's
a
a lot in
lot.
pandemic times, okay? It's like,
I promise to bring you guys on. I promise.
I'm just saying, like, you're always, you two are always welcome on the show. For this guy saying, "Oh, I'm the grand champion." But let me tell you how many times.
now just so that we can complain and I can rub it
I
in
don't
his
get
face,
I
be
don't
like,
get an
"Boo,
invite
boo,
at all
boo."
from Newbie.
We did the only one time. Yeah, we did the Whatnot PTI style show, which is a really good success. Yeah, so I'll definitely have
That's
you
it.
on.
That's all.
All right. Well, hey.
And then the other time was like when Rocksteady had internet issues, but that really wasn't even an invite from you. That was like Greg saying, "Justin, can you jump on?" And I go, "Yeah, sure." But that was.
Well, let me just get up and put my headphones on. Yeah, no, guys, I'll bring you guys on. I apologize. I didn't mean to leave you guys in the dark, so I apologize. So
Right.
we'll make it
Heard it
happen.
here,
I don't
folks.
know if you guys could come on and say you're the record holder, because I mean, BC and Greg are, they're up
It's not
there.
about that. We're just putting you
Yeah.
on the spot. We're letting
right,
all the
okay.
listeners know that you don't invite Sade and myself onto your channel.
Yeah, we just gotta haze you because that's what friends do. It's fine.
All right, you guys are on. I'm gonna contact you guys, and when you least expect it, I'm gonna be like, guys, like I need you. Like, let's go. What's going on? You guys coming on? So yeah, but no, you guys are always welcome. Doors are always open.
Wow.
Okay.
When are you
Look
going to New
forward
York?
to that message.
What, New York?
Yeah.
I'm coming this summer because I'm coming to see a Yankees game. Because I'm a Yankees fan. I'm like
That's
yeah.
nice. But
I'm
can
the
we meet
rare
up?
breed. Can I what?
We have to meet up then.
Yeah. Oh, for sure. Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, the Yankees game's not that far from where I live.
Yeah.
No,
I'm
I
not gonna
think
go to the game, but I'll meet you before or after.
I'm shooting for June.
Okay,
It's
let me
fine.
know. DM me later.
Yeah. So
We-
Slide to the DM.
Please, it's not that far. Like, it's not far from any of us. So.
yeah.
All right. For myself, of course, in about 3 weeks, King Kong here in Island, New Jersey, March 25th, March 26th. I will be vending. Make sure you follow that show. It is a 2-day show. Obviously, tons of people in the community. Pressable Defects and Comic Book CBSI puts it on. They're sponsoring it, I should say. Greg MTG Comics puts it on. You're going to see the Pressable Defects, 3 Men in a Basement, New York Warriors, Erod, Very Gary, myself, and loads of other vendors, comic book people. It's a great show. The fact that it's now into 2 days is going to be really awesome. So make sure you check that out. That's it for this week. We do have some stuff planned next week as well, bringing on some more guests this month, of course, for Women's Month. That's it for everybody. Season 3, episode 10. I appreciate everybody. We'll catch you next week. Later, everybody.
Later.